Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 12th episode of Kato's Anime Cafe, where every Tuesday we sit down and discuss anything and everything anime. I'm your host, Hoodie Song, as always, joined by my partner in crime, Zero. Today's episode is brought to you by the Tax Defense Group. The team of professionals at the Tax Defense Group are passionate about helping taxpayers resolve their tax debt. Their services include basic tax preparation, tax audits, resolving large tax debt, and more. They actively represent taxpayers throughout the entire USA, so if you need help resolving your tax issues, contact the Tax Defense Group. Call the Tax Defense Group today at 800-850-7973 to get started. That number again is 800-850-7973, or you could visit them online at thetaxdefensegroup.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Junkie. Are you thinking about starting a business or a side hustle? For all businesses to be successful, you need a website. Junkie offers website development, content writing, and SEO services for business websites. Call Junkie today at 805-587-7966, and you can visit them online at writerjunkie.com. Thank you to the Tax Defense Group and Junkie for sponsoring this week's episode. We also recently launched our website, ucaststudios.com. With articles about sports, special interest topics, and more, we have some cool stuff on the site. So to read our content, please visit ucaststudios.com. Now, let's get back into it. Now, Zero, this week on the Anime Cafe, we're joined by a very, very special guest, our second one ever. He hosts the AniTube Digest, having just passed its 1-year anniversary. Congratulations. And just yesterday gave us the prestigious award of C-tier AniTubers. Did you see that, Zero?
I heard about it. And I'm glad we have you on the podcast to publicly shame you for that humiliation.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on, Shaybs. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, it's Shaybs. Well, thank you for having me on, you guys. And you probably saw my rationale behind it of why I put you there. And I was saying it on the stream that I was like, this is probably not the best idea because I'm talking to these guys like tomorrow, like the next day. But
it was mostly positive. I did watch.
It's a power move.
I watched the stream and it was mostly that you enjoyed our content, you didn't watch a ton of it. That's fine. I just wanted to publicly shame you here at the top of the podcast.
It's totally fair. I do deserve that. And I will also say it's like, because I just wanted to make it interesting for that stream, and I'm usually a very positive person, so if I didn't have these like limitations of like I have to have so many people in D tier and so many people in C tier and like there's only so many limited spots and everything, I'd probably be way more positive. Like based on the videos I've seen, it's like between B and A for me.
To be 100% honest, I was worried towards the end when you were like looking at C tiers, you had to demote to D. I was like, no, please no.
Yeah, no, that definitely felt like under the gun for some people. You
should just be lucky that this is not a podcast with like a Scamboli or explanation. you
I know, right? I've not yet talked to any of those guys that like I'm the only people that I've ever responded to a video that I've given a not good to is Ember Reviews, Alex Enterprises, and I think Low-Key Weebs, or not Low-Key Weebs, Anime Fried Chicken. Something like that. I don't know. Well, but like very few people know. Very few, they usually don't. And I would be uncomfortable talking to them in full honesty.
Well, we're lucky you've always been pretty kind to us. But for those who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about, both yourself and I guess more, not more importantly, but AniTube Digest as well, sort of like what this show is and why exactly every AniTuber we know seems to love it.
Oh, well, my main channel is Caribou-kun, and it's not always the most active channel because like I put a lot of work into those videos on a visual level. And specifically on the 30th of September this month, I am dropping a 2-hour Gurren Lagann video that I've been working on since March. And I'm really excited about it, but like that's been a lot of my history of my channel and stuff. It's very rare uploads. And Digest is on my second channel, Shaybs, that I started, as you said, about a year ago. And that had so many purposes of me making it, like primarily so that I could really kind of have a regular stream of content. Like I could make something every week, like have a weekly basis sort of thing. But also to present myself kind of unscripted and on camera, which I thought was kind of a step forward, as well as, the real functionality of it, which is to talk about anime YouTube, the best and not so best anime YouTube videos that come out every week. And it's a series that was like initially inspired by the Needle Drops weekly track roundup, which I always really enjoyed, and was always able to find a lot of cool stuff that I am not like ingrained in the music scene like he is. I don't know how many people are like as deep as he is. So like when he finds these tracks or is aware of them, it's a catalog, and you're able to try them out, and you find a lot of cool stuff. So I felt that it could functionally be the same for anime YouTube, because especially for other anime YouTubers, because I know a lot of us do not watch each other's content, not like out of principle or whatever, but it's just for whatever reason. Like a lot of us, it either seems cringe, and we don't want to feel like vicarious cringe from. It's like, wait, if I think this, what am I doing? Am I cringe? Like you have like this vicarious, like, oh god. But just in general, I don't know what it is, but like I had that same feeling. It would take an effort for me to bring myself to watch some of these videos, so it is an incentive for me to actually be more immersed in it in the way that I like I like anime YouTube a lot, the scene and everything like that. So this was also like a way for me to really force myself to watch these videos.
Yeah.
Even the decent ones, you know.
I did want to promote this. You're talking about the Gurren Lagann video you're doing. I also saw on Twitter that you just made an AMV, and you're making an AMV every week leading up to the Gurren Lagann video. So I just want to. We'll probably put a link to that in the description, or maybe a pinned comment or something, because I do want to promote that. I mean, I don't really know much about this anime, but I will say, well, I know about Gurren Lagann. I don't know about the anime you made an AMV for.
Gunbuster?
It's kind of. I am aware of its existence.
That's not like a classic cut.
Classic anime is a huge blind spot for me. I'm very much like almost. It's almost something I'm ashamed about is how little. A year ago, Mathilde commented on one of my videos. She said, "Oh, I didn't realize Hoodie was a normie." It's like, oh, yeah, I guess I am. I guess I've only seen like the most popular anime. It's like the deepest, crushing self-realization I've ever had. It's just trying to piece together all those classic anime that everyone talks so highly about that I've barely heard of. Yeah. So, anyways, I wanted to promote your AMV, and I was not prepared to be shamed for it.
Well, what's funny is this Gurren Lagann video will probably be for you then, because you've probably seen Gurren Lagann, right?
I've seen a fair bit of it.
Yeah, so this video is going to be about what inspired Gurren Lagann. There's 5 major influences, and pretty much all of them are old anime from the 70s, 80s, 90s. And it kind of is in different facets, but like they're all very important. Not just as like a cheeky, like, oh, there's a Gainax reference or whatever in whatever. It goes a lot deeper than that, at least how I've read into it. And that kind of goes into the real history of Gainax and how that relates to Gurren Lagann specifically, and not just like a history thing. But yeah, I feel like, this could be kind of a gateway for people for guys like you to watch some old stuff.
Yeah, get connected with our roots, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it's great shit. It doesn't even matter how old it is. It's like, but it's just not in the forefront of people's minds, especially in this climate of seasonal anime, which is so much more inviting in terms of the discussion you get to have and the anticipation of getting to see it every, week to week. It's kind of convenient in that way as well, And a lot of old anime is also very intimidating, right? It's like, oh, where do I start with Gundam? Or, oh, this show is so long, or whatever. So there's plenty of barriers of entry that I understand. Anyway.
Well, that was partially the conceit behind, on Kato we were doing the Year of Classics, which unfortunately we failed and didn't manage to do monthly like we said we would. But, part of the conceit of that whole event we did was going back and, taking once a month, just rewatching an old anime, just because so like you were saying, so much of the stuff just isn't even on the forefront of mind. Like one of the videos I did, there's now one of the most popular videos on our channel, is about the 1993 JoJo OVA, and that's just something you don't think about, especially because JoJo is being readapted into more modern with the David production and everything like that. So it's something you don't think about, but going back to it, I was actually surprised with like how much, not only did I think it held up, how much it did stylistically different, how much it brought like tonally distinct from what you would get from the current modern JoJo adaptation. So revisiting that, I think there's so much value in classic anime that, you know, just it gets lost because there's so much, you know, so much great new anime coming out, really. I mean, yes, there's a lot of bad seasonal stuff. There's also a lot of great seasonal stuff. And I think if you're not actively searching, if you don't actively have that excuse to go back and go rewatch classic, it's hard to really even think about it. So, you know, one of the benefits to a video like yours is going to be like, here's a very direct line. You liked Gurren Lagann? Well, here's something that inspired it.
Yeah. Or like this element in Gurren Lagann was done. This is where it got it from. And like, yeah, it's exciting. Dude, but like, it's funny. I'm so into the weeds with the older stuff now that I am going so far as to watching anime that have not been translated yet. So like raw. No, I do not. So like, so it's actually a lot of fun. Because like it's very basic storytelling. Like, I mean, obviously you don't want to do it for like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Like that would not be the best show to watch without subs. But there and a lot of the shows that I've been watching are actually more like kid shows. But like even like baseball anime, which there's a ton of baseball anime that doesn't have any subs. The fact that like I know how to play baseball, and I know, so like if you watch a baseball game, you know, you don't hear a lot of them talking and stuff, so you can effectively watch these shows that are about baseball and you can understand them, or at least follow them, because you can tell the basic plot points. And I like some of it because it's kind of like a puzzle, or like you're kind of figuring out, oh, I wonder what happened in that scene that they were talking, and I wonder what's gonna happen. I don't know. It's kind of more engaging in that way, but it's mostly as like a expedition, because there's these titles that like are kind of mythical because nobody's seen them in English. So I mean, I still not technically watching them in English, right? But I still have, it's sort of uncharted territory. It's kind of like you know, people are kind of you know, people reminisce of the fact that the whole world's been explored and we went to the moon. You know, like if we're too young to go to space or whatever like that, the exploration is not there.
I hate that quote so much.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
I am. To me, it's
I know. I'm just saying people say that, right?
Yeah. People say it. Here's my brief tangent on this quote.
Okay.
I think people don't realize that we haven't explored much of this Earth. There's a whole a whole ton of this Earth that is still yet to be seen in the form of the ocean. So like, you know, listen guys, if you really want to explore, there's still paths you could, I mean, no, don't go swimming into the middle of the ocean, just swim down and see what happens. But there's a path of exploration. You can become a scientist who blah blah blah, whatever. That's my beef with that quote. But I totally understand where you're coming from.
I think that's like a well actually answer retort to me. It's like, well, you know, it's like, well, yeah, but sure. I know, but I totally, and it's so that's kind of how I feel with raw anime. It's really exciting and kind of exotic in that way. Not that, you know, it's kind of a yikes with talking about anime or whatever, but like, I don't know. That's what I feel. That's what I feel about it personally.
Zero, that's
how deep I am.
Zero, you're probably a little more in tune with classic anime. I imagine not much because we come from similar backgrounds, but you're a little more into some of the olders. I mean, you made the Legend of the Galactic Heroes video. What is your take on classic, modern? You know, where does your mind lay in that?
Well, I guess to give my perspective, I've seen a good amount of shows from the 90s. Probably not. I'm not sure what's discussed as like classic shows from the 70s or 80s. Legend of the Galactic Heroes is probably one of the oldest shows I've seen, and it did become an instant favorite of mine. But
that's good.
Hoodie and I sort of share this problem where watching older shows just sort of feels weird. We just can't get into it.
Yeah,
is it the aspect ratio?
It's definitely not that.
Okay,
you know, like
good. Okay.
For me, you said good before you heard the end of my sentence. For me,
fair enough.
I am so much of like, I guess I very much appreciate. How do I phrase this that doesn't get me brutalized by the mob?
I'm not that. I like to consider myself chill, but I've heard worse. I think there's a particular take if you had that would get me kind of like ugh, but
what's the
I
take?
won't say it. Okay,
Well,
so
tell me the take, because I want to know
this
if
particular
I'm
this
secretly the
particular
worst.
this particular YouTuber doesn't want to watch older anime. A person I'm mutuals with doesn't want to watch older anime because he notices the slight jittering in the cell animation because they're taking multiple photos. They
Okay.
notice how it's jitters slightly, and he gets bothered by that. And it's like, are you
That is a
fucking kidding me, dude? That is the
That is
most
a very tiny
asinine.
That's the
like,
thing.
Like, come on, my guy.
Hoodie and I aren't against the concept of watching older anime. It's just that it is harder for those older shows to grab us because of our predispositions.
I guess the biggest thing for me is I really, well, you know what, the biggest thing for me for a lot of classic anime is I have a lot of trouble with, let's get deep here for a second. I have a lot of trouble with like self-burden, you know, where it's like I feel the pressure to love something as much as everyone else does. And that pressure in itself makes me not want to watch things. You know, when I'm watching something hugely classic, I don't want to be this way because I want to be the guy who can just watch whatever and have their own opinions and have their own, you know, strong voice on something. But for me, it's that mounting pressure of just like, no, this, you know, for example, when we were doing a podcast reviewing a bunch of manga, there was a brief period where we were like, well, what's the next manga we're going to read? And we were considering whether or not we were going to do Berserk. At this point, I had not seen any of Berserk. Now I know I'm a fan, but at the time I didn't.
Good
so it's like, am I gonna read Berserk and risk making this podcast about why I don't like it? You know, what if I read this and it's not good, and then suddenly I have to deal with the fact that this is something we kind of dealt with when we were reading JoJo for the first time. Is a lot of JoJo I didn't actually end up liking. So it was. It was this mounting pressure on me, and I wish I didn't have it because I don't think we should have it, but it's just something that I couldn't shake off for certain stories. So that's like one of my biggest issues with going to classic anime is the fact that there is just such this, you know, mythological aspect of some of these older shows, and sometimes that's hard to really, you know, it's hard to really approach, I guess,
definitely
to speak plainly on it.
You know what it kind of reminds me of one of the first shows that I got into that was older. And the only reason, so like the reason I got into it was because I saw, okay, so back up. One of the first older ones that I saw was Mobile Suit Gundam, and the original, and that is as legendary mythical as you could probably get. It's kind of a very big deal, big mega franchise, right? So like I had no real interest in getting into Gundam at the time, and then my friend, I was at college or whatever, and my friend bought the first volume hardcover of Gundam The Origin, which is a manga that adapts the original 79 series, but it was written like 2001, and it looks gorgeous. It's by the character designer of the original Gundam, Yoshikazu Yasuhiko, really legendary guy. Looks great, but like if you saw this manga and you fucking felt it and like open it up, and it's gorgeous. Like there's no like predisposition about it. I was just enamored by it. I didn't even think about how legendary or intimidated it was. I was just enamored by the thing. And I remember that was my decision of like, oh my god, I have to watch this. And because like it was my friend's manga, you know, I wasn't as much of a manga reader, so I was like, I want to watch anime. So like, what do I got to see? So I saw that it was an adaptation of the 79 series. So I was like, okay. And that I just jumped in there. And I didn't really have the overwhelming history of like how important the show is or the backstory and everything like that. I just kind of went into it, wanting to have fun and have a good, enjoy a show, I guess. So, I mean, it's not the best thing, I suppose, to say, but it's like, or the best retort, I suppose. But it's like if you go into it wanting to love something and wanting to find a new favorite, I think is kind of the better mentality. And that's kind of the idea of watching any new show. I think it's kind of any backlog show for sure. Because there is an intimidation for any of them because there's some people with fans and stuff like that. But I think it's like you just have to be enamored by it, whether it is the cover art or the OP or the character designs. There's something about it. You're like, man, that looks so fun or real cool. I really want to watch it. And you just the prestige kind of melts away. And to your point about
I definitely had that intrigue factor with Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Yeah.
And if you can approach a show that way, it leads to more enjoyment, in my opinion.
Yeah, but and to your point, Hoodie, about being worried about not liking a classic, it totally happens. And especially, I get that with the pressure of also like adding is like, yeah, this is for a podcast or for a video. I totally feel that. But so it might also come across that like you really like the thing, but you don't have too much to say about it. So it kind of speaks for itself, and you're left speechless. So like, even if you might like
that's
it,
typically
you
what
might
I'm
even,
more afraid of.
Yeah, you might just kind of oh well. So I mean, I guess I kind of do the inverse when it comes to like whether I'm going to make a video about something. I kind of just like, I want to try to experience the thing first and then see if I want to make a video on it.
I mean, that's the pure way to do it, right? I mean, that's the way we should do it.
Well, it's safer. I think the reason is so that you don't have that uncomfortable situation of like, oh, I was planning this and this, but it turns out it's this other thing. I think it leads to better content when it stems from the stuff you have seen, and it's like, oh yeah, this is something I've always admired about it, and you already know what to do with it, I guess. And then the catching up, I got quote unquote. There's no catching up with this. We watch whatever you want, but like watching this other older stuff as like first and foremost to have fun, and like because you want to watch it because you want to be entertained. As I don't want to be like the anime is just entertainment or something like that, but I think that's just a overall healthy-ish mindset to kind of go at it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I will say like even an example of this for me, something recent as the past 6 months I guess, is watching One Piece was something I did on a whim because I was just interested in a new long-running shonen I just wanted to get invested into. So it was watching One Piece for the very first time. It was not something I had planned for a video. It was just like, I'm just going to put it on and see what happens. And immediately I fell in love with it. As to where, there are other examples where it was like, because I went into that mindset of like, I have to watch this, knowing I have to talk about it, knowing I have to find an opinion, find something to say. That's
an opinion is a very good way to word it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a dangerous mindset to have. And well, I guess that kind of segues us into one of the things I want to talk about here, which is I felt like we could have a discussion on, me and Zero both run a YouTube channel, an anime analysis, quote unquote, like normal anime analysis. You also on the side, or I guess anything.
It's my main,
your side project. Yeah.
Digest I like to think is my side thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
sorry.
Okay. No, don't worry about it. No insult. No offense taken. But
we both, all three of us have normal analysis. So I kind of wanted to talk about. An interesting discussion would be advice that we have for new creators and advice that we would have given ourselves if we were starting over. Basically, I want to talk about like now that we've all been doing this for a while, what is something you would tell the version of you who's just about to start their YouTube channel? What would be some helpful tips that we could give them to kickstart their journey? Zero, what are you thinking? Zero?
Can I go last?
Sure. Well, I have some written already because I have a couple technical tips, and I have some tips that I think are like, more along the lines that we were just talking about, which are sort of like better emotional, maybe for a lack of a word. I'll go ahead and start with one of those, which is that I really want to stress that to kind of go what we were just talking about, stay focused on the things you're actually knowledgeable on. One of the things that I struggled with when we were first starting, and a lot of these videos are taken down because I was just so ashamed of them, is that, you don't have to be an expert, but something you are knowledgeable / passionate. Is I was making videos about, there was this one that I really, I think a lot about that I really am not proud of. I made a video like why I don't like harem anime. And the crux of that video was me explaining why the 2 harem anime I've seen I didn't like. Right. And it's like, what position of authority do I have to be telling someone why this genre is bad when I've seen 2? Because the truth of it is, I don't like the harem anime genre based on what I've seen. And because I've only seen a couple and I didn't like them, I didn't want to watch more. And that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But that's such an unqualified, uneducated opinion to have that's totally not worth speaking on. You kind of come across as just, in my opinion, I kind of came across as, for lack of a better term, kind of stupid, to be 100% honest. So I guess my overarching piece of advice for something like that is, you don't need to be an expert to start making videos, but it does help to actually care about the thing you're talking about, to actually want to know more, and to not just be making something because you think it's something you could make a video about. You know, you got to find the cross between passion and, you know, passion, entertainment, and knowledge. You know, you need to find the things that you actually, people would actually care about your opinion on, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
These essay videos are in themselves supposed to be kind of persuasive. Like, I get people are like, you know, there's educational or informative, but I think ultimately you're making a public YouTube video because you want people to listen to you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want to have give people a good enough reason to believe you and listen to you, and I think it comes from a place of really understanding and kind of an amount of self-awareness. And I think that awareness you demonstrated there when you kind of took a step back, or, you know, when you realized that, like, oh, I don't know shit about harem anime or whatever. At least what little I've seen, I'm not in the, you know, you're not in a good position for it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say the big thing for me that I remember getting started was this feeling of every video I make has to be the most earth-shattering, like, not quote unquote important, I guess, but like every video is a big deal for me. And I think the sooner I got over that, the more liberating it feels and less intimidating to make something and kind of put yourself out there and to experiment. And kind of get messy. I think I like to think this is an art form. So it's the more you paint, the better you get at painting. It's the same thing with video editing, with content creation. So it's like, don't spend like so much time nitpicking every little, you know, because you're definitely going to miss stuff regardless. Like, as much as you try to make it perfect, you're going to find something. That's just how it is. It's an art form, so the art has inherent bumps to it, and those bumps are often a feature.
You know what I would say is also, if you're starting out, you know, the internet is permanent, right? You know, everything you put on can last forever. However, I also say when your audience is small, and even when your audience is getting bigger, you can make mistakes. You know, you could put out a bad video, and you could always go back and fix those mistakes. Or you could, if you made a short video and you think, I should have talked more about that, I should have elaborated on points, or talked about this other thing too, you could always just do that. You know, like, there is, you could always go back, revise, add, change things. So, you know, to go to your point a little bit, not every project needs to be this, you know, incredibly dense, huge project that, you know, no one has ever seen before. You could approach it bit by bit, piece by piece, and, you know, change as you go, revise as you go, stuff like that.
And oh shoot, I just had it and I forgot. Crap.
Well, one question I wanted to ask you, Shaybs, was you don't upload a ton on your main channel. So I was wondering, because this is something that I've been dealing with a little bit recently, which is, for the first time and pretty much my entire time uploading, is I took 2 months off, and this wasn't planned. It was just like, just for the past 2 months, I haven't really had many ideas, and even the ideas I did have, I'd struggle to write, and the 2 that I ended up writing, I was really having a hard time recording them, and it was hard getting emotionally to the point of uploading. And I finally recorded a video yesterday, which hopefully by the time this is going up, it should be out by now, it should have gone up by the day before. But it was this struggle I was dealing with as I was recording, which is like, I haven't uploaded in 2 months, and this video I'm working on right now, is it really my grand return? You know, is this really going to be the big video that, you know?
I have a lot of experience with this problem.
Go ahead, tell us about it, Zero.
Well, I'm like Shaybs, sort of a infrequent uploader. And pretty much every time I get around to actually having a video ready to go out, I just wonder, like, will people even care about this return? This video isn't that amazing. It's not like I come back with my Lelouch video, for example.
Yeah.
And I guess it's something I've sort of gotten over because this might sound kind of weird, but I've sort of gotten to the point where I don't really care about views because I feel like having those sort of expectations for your content to perform a certain way will hurt you more in the long run.
It does.
Because
it really
you get
does.
discouraged.
Yeah.
It's fucking crushing, dude. I had this period between my Megalobox video and this video I made on Mamoru Hosoda's TV episodes. And that video I did on his TV episode work was one of the best things I thought I had made, and I loved it, and I thought it would do well because it was Hosoda and had Digimon and One Piece and stuff, so it's like it has a chance. It didn't do anything. It did horribly. Or this underperformed really poorly. And that was really, really difficult because it's like you kind of picture all that, and it's like it's the juxtaposition of like the crushing reality and you know what you were imagining. It sucks.
Yes.
It's about
It
expectations
really
where it's like, you know, if I put out a video like, so the one I'm coming out now is just it's a, you know, normal Naruto video, the type I would have made at any point in the past, you know, 8 months or whatever. And if I had put it out at any other point in time, it would have been perfectly fine in my mind, because it's like, well, if this video is not great, if people don't like it, or if it doesn't get a ton of views, then, you know, I'm going to come out with another one in like 2 to 3 weeks. It's not the end of the world. But because it's been so long, it's like, are people waiting? Are people, you know, hoping for something project? You know, I think about like someone like Best Guy Ever, who they can take, you know, before they were doing Wiagwa and stuff, they could take 2 years to make a video, because when they came out with one, it was going to be this huge big deal. Everyone was going to rejoice. People were like, oh, best anime ever is back. It's amazing. I guess maybe people are a little disappointed with the Ghost in the Shell one, but that's beside the point. It was with Best Guy Ever's videos, they were always this really huge event, and it felt like the type of thing you could take a long time for. And in my position, I'm trying to overcome this idea of like, well, it's not that, but just do it anyways, you know, like you just got to do it anyways, because at you have to make a return, you know. You can't just the fact of the matter is, I don't have a video like that. I don't have this huge, you know, 3-hour analysis on the you know, back burner that I could just put out for my grand return. So I just have to push beyond that, and I don't know, it has been a struggle. I'm on my way, but it has certainly been difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Demolition D coming back after years, and that's a huge freaking return. But his video wasn't such a huge, it didn't seem like this big triumphant thing. It was more like, here's another video, I'm back kind of deal. And people just like whatever he puts out. And I mean, you guys have fans, and I have my own fans, and I think those are the people that are the most important to please, I think. Not kind of just an algorithm.
I will say that
yes.
I will say, from the perspective of someone who can, you know, divorcing whether or not I make content, as someone who watches content, I usually don't even really think about people taking huge breaks. You know, like a lot of the, you know, creators I follow, you're and not to insult anyone, but you're one of 100 subscriptions I have, you know? So it's like, if let's say I was following Kato and Zero doesn't upload in 3 months, well, I mean, I was just watching other people, you know? So like, it's not like I was just there with no other content for the entire 3 months, just praying every night, oh, I hope Zero makes another video. So I guess the logical thing we need to, as creators, need to view is that, like, we're not, I mean, at least we shouldn't be, I imagine, we're not filling some unfillable hole in these viewers' hearts that they couldn't get anywhere else. So there's not this huge thing where like we have to be the best at all times, we have to make this worth it for them. You know, fans, this is just, you know, my guess, but I think they just want more content, you know, like they just want to hear what we have to say. It doesn't need to be this amazing thing. They just want something. So, you know, if it's not the great,
the peasants will take whatever we give them.
I don't know.
Well, yeah,
I guess,
but and that's something to be grateful to as well, because there are creators like that people rely on their content. And like if they don't upload, there's an actual responsibility, and there's also money involved. Especially like there's some people that this is their livelihoods, and some people are so big, like Linus Tech Tips, for example, they have a whole business around it, and there's multiple employees. So if there's a problem, and there's something that happens, there are consequences. But what's great about YouTube is that it's possible to do even having such great sizes like Nuxtaku or whatever, and have it be relatively responsibility free. In terms of like, being willing to just have fun with it. I think that's such an important point about the videos, is like you just have to have. I just hope people whoever makes a video. I actually had a patron, a very new patron who came into my Discord and was like, I was looking for advice for video making and stuff, and it's like just make sure you have fun. Just like make sure that you had fun making it. That's really all that matters to me. Because if you're proud of your work, then it doesn't really matter how well it does, or how people receive it, and like how negative it might. What if it blows up in kind of the wrong direction, right? Yeah. It's like, so long as you have confidence in your work and you're proud of it, that's really the key.
Exactly.
The key play.
That kind of goes...
That's sort of the point that I've gotten to when it comes to uploading. It's like, even if it's not a massive video, as long as I'm satisfied with the points I made, then I feel confident uploading it.
Well, that's kind of one of the things I want to give advice to any potential new YouTubers is, when we started, when we started the channel, I don't think I've talked about this before on the channel, but, at that point, I was working at my job for a little while, and I was in the biggest depressive slump of my entire life. We were just coming off of high school, and in high school, our senior year, I had missed 90 out of 180 days. I literally skipped half the year because I was just in this huge rut. I couldn't get out of bed every day. And when I was working at that job, I was in a similar place, and I looked at YouTube, and for me, it was this haven. It was like, I'm going to quit my job, become a YouTuber, become big. That's going to be my new job. I'm not going to be depressed anymore. It's going to be great. And I would say, don't do that. That was very stupid of me. That was the stupidest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I quit my job I quit my job a month before we started the channel in preparation for this being this huge thing. And what happened is the channel literally didn't get any traction whatsoever for like an entire year after that. It was and and we're still lucky in that sense. We're lucky in the sense that in the short time we've been on YouTube, we've found the success that we have. So exactly. I want to say to people like that is, hold on to not making this your job for as long as you can. Like, I am lucky enough that at this point, YouTube does pay my bills that I don't need to work. We're very lucky in that sense. And also I'm very lucky in the sense that my bills are relatively low. I live with family, so it's not a huge deal. But if you are in a position where you can stay on to your job and you don't need to rely on YouTube, don't rely on YouTube, because that pressure, that is the source of so much pressure. Looking at this, like you were talking about, Shaybs, where it was just like, where there's so much relying on it now because you have so much money on this, that is where the biggest source of disdain I've ever felt towards YouTube was, when it felt like, if I don't make a video right now, there's going to be some problems with my career. That's when I was always the most hateful of the job. And I don't want to hate this job. This job is great, So I would say my number one, like, spiritual, emotional advice for any aspiring YouTubers is to until the very last moment, until you're making way more money than you need to, just stay working outside of YouTube and do YouTube as your passion, as your hobby on the side.
Especially if you like making videos, if you like the craft of like editing them and performing in them and everything, and it's fun in that way. Because I feel like the moment you make it your job, there's certain expectations specifically from YouTube to deliver, and I've seen other channels really get crushed by it, I think, or just it stunts their creativity and they might burn out early. I don't think anyone's gone that far yet, but like it's a lot of their kind of a shell of what they could be doing, of their potential. and I think that there are ways to have your own job and still do YouTube kind of like, somewhat regularly, not like, as on the ball or whatever, but like to have both, I think is possible. So like, I'm not even monetized. Neither of my
Really?
channels are monetized. I have a Patreon, and I have that so that I can recently I just started a Libsyn so that AnyTube Digest can be a podcast that I pay a monthly subscription to send it to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. But other than that, it's like I kind of just do that, so that's all I have for it. And I like having that so that I don't have to deal with ads or getting demonetized. A lot of my videos get copyright claims because I use a lot of music. I'm not very safe in that regard. But music usually, especially, I don't know what it is, but like I think, because this is a myth, I can't say it's true or not, but like I feel like since I'm not monetized, I just don't get copyright strikes, knock on wood.
That is possible.
I just don't think I haven't yet. But at least that's my thinking of it. And I feel like once I do if I do monetize, like I think I mean I wouldn't make any money because a lot of my channel doesn't, it just wouldn't be eligible. But I just feel like I'd be more in the crosshairs of these guys to like take my videos down in that way. And I just love them too much as what they are to do that. So like, but I love anime so much. I've talked about this in my Access to Dazaki video, which is the so far only video on my main channel that has my face in it, and just kind of, it's a more of a on-camera type of video, and it's a very unique video. It's weird. It's kind of the conclusion of this big video series I did in December, where I released a video like every 3 days, which is really exciting and a challenge for me. That's another thing I should say about content creation. Please challenge yourself. Like, always go a little bit into the deep end of what you can just barely think you're able to achieve, and that's where you're going to be able to do something really exciting. That's mostly a David Bowie quote. But like, I strongly encourage that. Like, when you're thinking of video creation, don't just like, I'm going to make a video today. I really think it's like, okay, what haven't I done? And what would be challenging or different or interesting? It improves your versatility. Anyway, that's a side tangent. Where the fuck was I?
To jump on that real quick is, I would say,
please.
There's I was talking earlier about mistakes I made earlier on with, like, that specific video I was talking about, but talking about challenging yourself, you're gonna make mistakes like I did, but like this whole channel was a challenge in some sense. But in making mistakes, I did learn. Like, am I happy to have made that stupid video? No, but I did learn about what type of content I could make going forward. I did improve the way I thought about certain shows, about like what shows I actually did feel passionate about. I improved in that regard. So I think in challenging myself, I messed up, but that's part of the process. Messing up is part of the process for growth. So
exactly. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so like this it was this big series on an anime director that's a big premiere classic director that if you check that video out, it's this I compiled the 12 videos into an hour, one big video. It's about an hour long. It's really good. If you're curious about getting into older anime, that's a really good place. But at the end of that video is me talking about how a lot of this director's work is not available in the West for whatever reason. And I have such a, it was so frustrating to be recommending these shows to people that they couldn't watch legally. Like, there wasn't a place for it, and it's not on Crunchyroll, and it's never been available in the West or whatever. And it was so frustrating. And it's like, it's kind of a resolution of, and also announcing on my channel that, I accepted a job working in the anime industry. I somehow got my foot in the door. It's kind of a miracle that I did. But yeah, I'm working for Discotheque Media now, and working on these older titles and some new releases that I'm under NDAs and non-disclosure agreements about.
What do you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Whatever they really want me to do, but at the moment they have me mostly setting chapter marks on the DVD. So like, you know how like you could skip to a chapter a certain part of in the video on the DVD, on the Blu-ray. I basically set those time stamps. I set where that happens. And if it's a movie, I get to kind of customize that and kind of do it myself, because there's no, you have to essentially break the movie up and you have to do it by eye, which is kind of fun. But I will say, one of the things that I will be doing soon, I mean, I still have to actually do it, but this is a title that they have announced that is coming out. They got Memories, which is this really incredible OVA from '95, and it's three stories that have some attachment to Katsuhiro Otomo, the author of Akira. Okay. Really, that's on Retro Crush, by the way, for free. Like you can stream that. It's incredible. It's a great fucking OVA. So Discotek is releasing that on Blu-ray, and they're also dubbing it. It's never gotten an English dub, and they're producing a dub, and that's great for accessibility, but also kind of a further immersion. I know some people aren't the most into dubs, right? But whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so my boss wanted to kind of have this featurette on the DVD on the Blu-ray to talk about the process of dubbing it, which the actual nitty-gritty part has never really been discussed. It's more of this kind of a promotional thing, and the actor's like, oh, I liked playing in this thing or whatever. Yeah. But like, it's never really technical, like what had to happen to get this made sort of deal. So he's kind of leaving me in charge of producing that. So that's really exciting, and hopefully that's something I can that's my main thing to contribute, because in this particular company, it's a few people working all over the country, and like each of them are very, very good at what they do. And so, I'm kind of a newbie, so there isn't really like a place for me at the moment, but at least I feel, but I'm hoping to kind of learn as much as I can, and hopefully start licensing stuff myself, and get some of these titles on Blu-ray, so that like, people can enjoy them without, because like these titles are on Crunchyroll, but they could be taken down off of Crunchyroll at any time for no announced reason and without any warning. Sometimes they warn you, and that's good. But other times they can just disappear, and people are like, oh shit, it's gone. and they never give an explanation or anything. So that could happen to a lot of these seasonal anime that they've accumulated so much of. A lot of them are kind of at risk right now when they don't have a physical release. And I get like, it's like, oh, whatever, torrenting, whatever. But I think that limits its reach. It's like Shouokan Roku Rakugo Shinju. Have you guys seen that show?
Oh, big fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Not on physical yet. It doesn't have a physical release yet. It's only on Crunchyroll, as far as I know. That could go away anytime. And then people don't watch Rakugo Shinju. And it's like, we could just still pirate it, but there's only so many people that know how to pirate. I get it, it's easy, whatever. I'm sorry, this is suddenly a piracy thing.
No. Yeah, but
good. Like,
I think ultimately, like going back to your dub thing too, is like accessibility is like, we don't have to like dubs. We don't have to like, you could pirate. The fact of the matter is, these things do improve accessibility for people who aren't, as deep into their trenches as we are. Like,
I want as many people to watch these. I want as many people to watch this stuff as possible. I love this stuff, and it's done so much for my life, and I know it can improve the lives of other people and entertain a lot of other people. I like that sort of vicarious joy, and that's a lot of why I do my YouTube channel, is because I know these videos I'm making, people will enjoy them, and I get enjoyment not just in making them, but in seeing other people enjoy them. And it's the same thing with movies, with anime. I would bring I'm sorry to devolve my whole fucking life story. Sorry.
You're good.
But like, I would bring friends over in college into my dorm room to watch Nausicaa, because they have seen a couple Ghibli films, but Nausicaa was kind of not the most popular one.
It wasn't Spirited Away. It wasn't Totoro.
Exactly. So it's my favorite Ghibli movie by a country mile. And so I wanted to make sure all my friends had seen Nausicaa. So it was like I watched that movie 4 times in 1 week with 4 different groups of people. Like it just so happened that I grabbed different people, and I ended up watching that movie 4 times in a row, but I loved it every single time because I loved watching it with other people and them enjoying it. I ended up becoming my college's anime club president and showing other people this older stuff and exposing people to stuff, and it's the best. So like that's what I want to do professionally, essentially, and not so much YouTube, which I'm kind of like, we don't even know how long this platform is going to last, like Newgrounds. How long? I mean, Newgrounds is still around, but like, it had its period. Yeah, and obviously YouTube is infinitely bigger than Newgrounds, but we don't know how long this is going to last, is my thing. So and also you know the struggles with YouTube, the follies, and you're at the mercy of this company to give you a strike for whatever reason, and it's unfair.
I mean, just recently, Pedantic Romantic just lost her entire channel.
Yep.
So
just got suspended. It's so fickle, and I don't know if that's the word for it, but like, yeah, so I don't want to entrust in that for me personally, and that's kind of why where I'm at with that. But I like what I do at the moment, and I enjoy making videos, and I hope other people do too.
I guess the takeaway here is, if you're an amateur voice actor, go ahead and just spam Shaybs on Twitter. Get your voice reel over. He's in charge of the dubbing. So, anyone
not
in
the
ahead.
Slightest. Jesus.
Zero, I know you're interested. Go ahead. I do have a couple, just to round out the conversation about, whether or not you should be a new AniTuber. I do have a couple technical tips I wanted to give. But before I do that, Zero, did you come up with anything that you thought, if only we knew that, 2 years ago, if only 3 years ago, whatever?
Actually, I was going to transition into stuff that we did perfectly, that every aspiring AniTuber should replicate.
Yes, please copy these exact tips from our channel. Go ahead, Zero.
So first off, we approached it sort of methodically. We began with a list of like video ideas, and we stockpiled a few before we started uploading. So basically, at the beginning of our channel, we didn't have to worry about just working week to week and not having anything to upload. And at that point, your channel's in a somewhat precarious position, so that could make a difference.
I think stockpiling is a great way to relieve that pressure we were talking about of like, to make sure I never go 2 months without uploading, and then amount that pressure of like, oh, it's been so long, can I make something normal, or do I have to make something, to get rid of that pressure, being responsible and stockpiling ahead of time, so that if you ever do feel like, I just don't want to make a video right now, at least you have one. That's a good piece of business advice, I guess I would say, is just to have something prepped beforehand.
When I told you guys I'm putting out an AMV every week leading up to this Girl Nogon video, 3 of those have been AMVs that are unlisted on my channel that I've just never had the incentive, or like, I don't know, I just haven't felt like uploading them publicly.
That's great to hear, because when you announced this, I was like, because you also said there were requests too, so I was like, he's taking, I don't know how much
I'm making AMVs for my patrons for $15 each, which is very cheap.
Insanely cheap. I was like, I don't know how this is going to be sustainable, but to know that you've already done 3 of them, like that is like, thank God, because I was like, there's no way this could actually work. I mean, it's not that I didn't trust you, it's just like, this sounds like if I was in that position, I'd be dreading every minute of it. But if you already have some, that's fantastic.
Well, yeah, it is per month, but I always took it, I always see it that the positives outweigh the negatives here for me. It's like, I love making them. I have ideas for AMVs, and I don't want to just shit all of them out at once, and then I have no more ideas for AMVs, right? So like, this keeps me in practice. I'm able to experiment a little bit, have fun, and then I satisfy a patron who had this idea that, they might not have the capacity to create themselves. You know how everybody has these ideas, and then sometimes it takes somebody else to, like, you know, it's art. It's like somebody commissioning an art piece or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also content on my channel, so I'm like, cha-ching.
Zero, you said you had a second one?
I have a couple more.
Okay, go ahead.
Next would be to do Mia Mafova.
That was a pretty good exercise for us. I will say that was
actually didn't even know you guys
not
did
the
that.
funnest week. We rebranded. You know, we weren't trying to rip off Nate's stuff, so we did 31 Days of Kato. A lot of those videos are no longer up because I am terrible. I have so much shame. Zero is very mentally solid in saying, like, you know what? There's some bad videos. Keep them up. Me, if I make a bad video, that thing's gone. I don't want the world to see that. I'm so scared. So
I still have a few that I have some shame regarding, but I don't know. I feel like keeping them up sort of keeps me honest.
Yeah,
I feel that too. In terms of being honest, like there are videos that are kind of an L for me. But
we take those L's.
Yeah, we do take those L's, and it's a step in the journey. You know, it's a part of the. I don't want to forget it or like kind of bury it or something. That's me at least.
No, I'm thoroughly L free. My record is clean.
It's but bad 1,000, as you can see. until someone downloads every video where they find out that it's a trend for you to do that. They're like, I got to make sure I download these because you might delete it.
Releasing this video where I announce this is going to be the biggest mistake of my entire career because now everything's going to be backlogged. But the biggest reason I do it is because I think I sort of, and I don't begrudge you guys, by the way. I think actually you guys are doing the honorable thing. I'm being a dirty little cheater right now. But the reason I do it is because I kind of think because YouTube is something I love doing, but it's not ultimately my end goal. Is I very much do, you know, I've written a couple comics. I do want to be a writer. I sort of view my YouTube channel as like a portfolio, and you know, you don't want to just keep terrible projects in your portfolio. You know, I don't want someone to be like, watch a terrible video by me and think, well, why would I want to read a story by this guy? You know, why would I want to read a story about someone who clearly has no idea what they're talking about the writing of Hunter x Hunter or something? So deleting the video, or not even deleting, but just like making it a little harder to see the videos in which I fully accept that, like, you know, I was kind of stupid here. I don't even know if I believe this anymore. Getting rid of those videos for me, it just helps. It helps the longevity of my career outside of YouTube in terms of, you know, writing comics and movies and whatnot.
I definitely get that, especially if you're retreading on certain subjects. I think for sure. I do tend to address sometimes my older videos and as an addendum in my future videos. But like, I don't know. I think mostly the reason I don't need to do that is because for me, I don't tend to talk about the same thing twice. Not that you do, but like, I'm just saying, like, if it's about Berserk, I only have like 2 videos about Berserk, and both of them are about drastically different things to where there's no overlap. You know what I mean? To where, like, you know, it's not like I don't think there's going to be a situation I run into where it's like, this no longer reflects my beliefs or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think I've
someone who does addendums would, someone like you, it would be Mathwiz, where she has made plenty of videos where it's like she even like renames her old videos where it's like, this video sucks now, and like she'll update them. And I think not only is that perfectly fine, I think more people like her for it. You know, I think more people are like, we like to see that growth. We like to see that evolution of, you know, this evolving opinion and whatnot. So, like I said, you guys are the honorable ones. I'm a sneaky little cheater. That's the result, I guess.
Yeah, I know Mr. Cynical does that too, where he and I think it was because he also did a similar Mia Mafova, I think.
Really?
I think so, or at least it was every other day. I remember there was a string of videos where he uploaded very rapidly, which is very uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It does not sound like the type of person who would do a Mia Mafova, but yes.
But he has those videos unlisted, and I happened to snag one in my watch later.
Hey.
In my watch later, so I have access to seeing it.
That's black market material right there.
That's that feeling, right? No, he's a good guy. Yeah, that was much I had to say about that.
Zero, go ahead, give us another tip.
Tip number 3 was to post all of your content everywhere you can.
Oh, yeah,
We
100%.
did this. Yeah, we did this on multiple websites, but I would also go as far as even posting them on other video hosting sites. And just, it increases your visibility as much as you can, and you can always link back to your channel, and who knows, it'll pull that one extra commenter or one extra subscriber.
Yeah, this was something we were better at when we first started than now, I think. Like, I really don't ever post our videos to Twitter, and I don't know why. It's like, there's a shame there, and it's like, people are following the Twitter because they like the channel. Why would they not want to see us post new videos? But it's just, I don't know, it just feels dirty, and it's something I constantly have to remind myself of. You have to market yourself more. It's and the other one you were talking about was like putting it on other sites. I mean, that's smart for marketing. Also just smart because like we were talking about earlier, YouTube could crack down on your channel for any time, at any moment, like for things you didn't even do. Like Pedantic Romantic didn't get copyright claimed. Her channel got hacked and it got shut down. So like it's so out of your control that just having a catalog somewhere else is honestly just the smart thing to do. Like, I don't have the raw files for a lot of our videos anymore. So if the channel dies, all that stuff's gone. You know,
No,
it's all gone.
What are you doing? Don't trust YouTube to do that. Get those. You can download them right now in like full quality. The only things
I
you
just
can't
like living
do.
life on the edge.
The only thing you can't do is like download your thumbnails in full quality anymore. Not like anymore. I don't know if you could originally, but like if you want, you can in your settings or whatever, you can download the thumbnail, but it comes out to be this really shitty, like low res little thing. It's not like the big thing that you used to upload initially. But the videos you can get back. I wanted to make sure I had all my videos when I was doing some readdressing some stuff, and I realized I was missing one of my videos. I just didn't know where I had it saved, or didn't know where it went. And like hell, I'm gonna let that one go away. So like, I downloaded it and it's full quality. It's good. Is there
an easy way to do this though? Because we have like 100 videos, man. It's like
no, it's in the it's in like the the videos tab or whatever, and like I think it's just like one of those buttons. It's just like download. It's like if you want, it's like one little quick thing. At least I thought it was quick.
I guess I should do that. That does sound smart.
Yeah, but
I'll do that after the recording.
To your point about sharing it everywhere and making it, also like filling out your tags, right?
Mm-hmm.
And making it, and
yes.
learning how to make a good thumbnail.
100%. Thumbnails are so important.
I am so over it. Like that, I did it initially. I really, checking it twice, fucking da. Don't give a fuck anymore. I got to 10,000 subscribers. I was like, all right. Because it was so transparent, dude. I was so disillusioned because I was at like 8,000 for a year or two. Mm-hmm. Like it was very, 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 very slow, steady growth from 5 to 8 between blowing up with my first Berserk video from 667 subs to 5,000. And then it was a little steady trickle thing from there because I never got like a big runaway hit after that. And then I had this idea for another Berserk video that I really like that. I like that video a lot, but I have a little less about it for now because I knew it would get good views. And I don't even think I tagged it all that well or shared it anywhere in particular. It just went out automatically fucking 40,000 views in like 3 days.
Jesus.
After very little because it's a Berserk video, and then and then I got 10,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I uploaded an AMV, and YouTube stopped recommending that video. Yeah. It literally, like you can imagine a graph, and it was going up, flat plateau.
Uh-huh.
It literally just barred it because of this AMV that I uploaded. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was it, and I'm like, okay. Fuck you then. I was like, you got me my 10,000 subscribers. I don't have to deal with your shit anymore. And I will say,
go ahead.
No, so like I don't tag my videos anymore. I'll probably do this Gurren Lagann video because I actually really do give a shit about this one. So I would actually be really crushed if this didn't do that well. I want everybody to watch it. I will bother the shit out of all of you out there, and all the YouTuber connections I have. I'm gonna pester the shit. It's like, you've seen it, right? You've seen this video, have you? Have you tried it at least?
I'm going on record right now. We will promote your video the little we can. You know, we have a surprisingly tiny audience. I think you have like 3 times the Twitter followers as us, maybe even more. But we will definitely promote your video.
No, don't sweat it. It's like I mostly actually care if you guys like it. I don't know if you guys share it or whatever. I just want you to like it, because I don't know. After a year of giving validation to these other YouTubers and promoting their shit and talking about it in the videos, and nobody does that for me, because I'm, that's the thing. I just want that for once. I want reception in that, especially for how big this video is and how long it's taken me. I really hope it goes well. But anyway, so like that one I'll give a shit. But like, it's so funny that the other YouTubers that I'm in this other Discord server with and everything, they clown on me for how bad my thumbnails are. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck, dude. They're sentimental. I have a reason for choosing the thumbnails I do, or I think that looks good. I don't care if YouTube thinks that doesn't think that look good. I don't give a fuck, dude.
I will say I've heard mixed things about whether tags are good, or whether tags they're not gonna hurt. But I've heard mixed things about whether or not they really matter. However, I like making thumbnails. I'm gonna be honest. Like, thumbnails to me is like the best part of the video. It's where it feels like I actually get I don't know. I was gonna say where I feel like I actually get to express myself. I'm doing a pretty bad job of making videos if I'm not expressing myself in them. But I just mean I find a lot of artistry in thumbnails, and not all of them. Some of the thumbnails I'm just slapping together. But personally, like, I have one for a new Avatar video coming out, and I spent so much time on it. It looks so good. The symbolism. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love it. So I couldn't be more different. I love working on thumbnails.
Oh, and not like I don't like thumbnails. I love making thumbnails. I just like making thumbnails that I think look good, or that I'm happy with. Sometimes I don't care as much, in some cases, but like, when it's like functionally, that's not a great thumb. Like by YouTube standards, quote unquote, with the arrows and the colors and the size and everything like that. I mean, sometimes I look at the size and everything, but like, I just want a cool cover to me. But I'm with you with the art. I like the artistry in making thumbnails. I love it too, but it's just, what it be, I guess.
Yeah. Zero, you had another tip?
How many have I said so far?
3?
I think you've said 3.
Okay. Tip number 4. There was a tip number 4. I didn't write it down. Tip number 4 is to just keep making content. Just keep going, because a lot of YouTubers, Hoodie said earlier, it took us quite a long time to get off the ground.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, never give up.
Kept uploading. Never give up.
That's right. Yeah,
for sure.
It's like you're never gonna be too unhappy with a video's performance if you like what you made. I still remember that period of being under 1,000 subscribers, and really liking everything that I made, and the people who were watching it, it was always really fun to see them and everything like that. It's like that's always the good shit for me. And also having a video blow up is very overrated. Like, it's not the most fun experience, to be honest with you, because of how many...
the more views, the more comments.
Yes.
Oh, terrible
comments.
Yes, because it's the worst part. The comment, it's not necessarily like how bad the comments can be, but how many of the same comments you get.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Yes. Oh my god.
Like, as if they have the most original idea. And it's like, dude, did you not scroll down a little bit and see the 50 people
Shaybs,
already
you're
saying
spitting
that?
right now.
100%.
Oh, God.
I feel this so much.
Every time I get a comment on my Berserk video, I'm like, I don't care. I don't even want to read it. I don't care. It's over. I'm done with it.
I do this for my own mental health. I don't think it's the greatest thing. Like, if you can withstand it, I think you should read comments. I don't. I just don't read comments anymore because, like, I know that my skin is not thick enough. I cannot bear, like, I want feedback. I just think I'm available in other places. We have a Discord. We have a Twitter. If you want to get a hold of me, if you want to be like, hey, I really like this video, or hey, did you think about this? Have you thought about this? I'm fully, like, we have our DMs open to anyone. You could DM us, and I'd be more than happy to read and respond. But the terrible comments we can get, there's so many great ones that I feel terrible about not reading, but there's so many bad ones, and so many, like you said, just repeats of the same. Like, if you make a single mistake, like an obvious mistake too, not even a big one, but like you said something wrong, oh my god, there's gonna be so many comments about it.
It'd be 200 comments all saying you said this wrong.
It is literally the worst.
The real
I mean, I read all the comments, so Hoodie doesn't have to.
The real forbidden fruit of feedback is getting feedback from other YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
I think getting a comment on a video that's from another YouTuber, especially one that you know about and have admired, and then they suddenly comment in your video, that is the most precious Kino shit I've ever... I love it.
Yes.
I love it. And
absolutely.
It's like, once you taste that, it's like, God, I just want YouTubers to comment on my videos.
Well, the great thing about the YouTube Studio app is, it feels weird saying this because it feels like I'm prioritizing certain people above other people, but there's a function on the YouTube Studio app where you could have it send you notifications for only comments from like people with a lot of subscribers, and it's not even like a crazy amount. Like, there's certain friends of ours who, like the Hunter Dick Riding Association doesn't really make that much content, but they, because they comment a lot, they have like 1,000 subscribers or something, and I'll get notifications from him, I'll get notifications from other YouTubers, and it saves me from all the other ones where it is just the people pointing out. Yeah, there we go. So that little function on the YouTube Studio app, that's a godsend right there.
Yeah, because like one of the things that motivated me to make videos, there was a couple things, but this particular thing was not the most healthy thing. It was not the most positive experience of my life. It was kind of intimidating and kind of scary in some ways. I don't really want to go into it, but one of the things they were saying was it was a seminar sort of deal. One of the things that I took away from that I love is there's a difference between being on the sidelines watching the game and playing the game yourself. Because if you're playing, you have some influence and you have the chance to change it and do something. But if you're on the sidelines, you can talk shit all you want. You could be the nastiest or the smartest person you want. But you're not going to affect the game. The video's already out, And I just respect people who have gone what I've gone through, and there's a mutual respect here. It's like we that bonding experience we just had about a video blowing up and having a bunch of comments, right? Like there's a mutual there's an understanding there between creators that I value a lot more than what the random anonymous fucking guy says. And so I've come to it where it's like I care more about who watches my stuff than how many people. And that's what I'm very happy about Digest, because I've been able to kind of gain the attention and respect of a lot of people that I look up to that are fellow content creators, and those are the people I want to have dialogues with you guys. Being able to talk to Otaku Versus when I gave their Oda-chan show a disappointed when I kind of like discussed my problems with that, like they DM'd me and they're like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about the show and what kind of happened and stuff and where we're going with it. And I'm like, oh my god, okay. That was I cherished that, and that's the goat shit. I guess goat shit doesn't sound great, but it's you know what I mean. It's that's the stuff.
I do want to stress. I want to stress that it's not that all commenters are bad, because it does sound like we're saying,
Definitely
commenters,
not.
you suck, and
I have
we
some
just,
day
we
one
just care about
homies.
people with growth.
You know how you remember how like you recognize some profile pictures and stuff that have been with you for a long time.
100%.
You get that feeling. You're like,
And
oh
usernames.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, I know you, yo man. And you know, sometimes they don't want to make videos, and that's okay. And like you have to. But I feel you. Sorry,
there's a ton of amazing commenters who don't make videos, will never make videos, but they leave great, insightful, thoughtful comments, and those are great, and we love them. It's only unfortunate, like it really does make me sad, is that like, because I don't want to reach into the vitriolic hate pile of everyone else, that I can't see those. But I do really appreciate those guys. I do think they definitely, there's a lot of great people. We have a Discord full of people that have left comments on our videos so insightful. Our Discord is actually full of people way smarter than me, and I appreciate that so much. So I don't want to make it seem like we're just shitting on those people too. I think there's a very clear divide between people who are just leaving terrible comments and people who actually care and are leaving very thoughtful. It doesn't even need to be nice, but just thoughtful. Like actually insightful,
original
analysis of the video or whatever. Yeah, something like that. I do want to give 2 quick technical tips before we round out the conversation, just because we talked a lot about like the mindset you should be in, but also this is just stuff I've noticed from newer AniTubers, stuff from our own videos, really. If you go back to some of the first ones that I think, man, this is such an easy fix, just do it. Please speak louder. I hate watching videos, and you don't need to scream. I know I'm kind of loud. You don't need to be as loud as me, but I hate watching videos where it's clearly the person, it's midnight, their mom's in the other room, and they're just whispering into their microphone. It just, I'm not trying to watch an ASMR video. I mean, maybe some people are, but please just speak louder than you might think you have to at the start, and adjust from there. If you need to be a little quieter, then be a little quieter. But from what I've noticed, people are too quiet.
Yeah, and don't be afraid of your own voice. It sounds weird listening to it back for the first time if you're not used to it. It sounds different than how you hear it in your head. But there are also people that I was just talking to a particular editor. I'm sorry if I'm subtweeting him. I'm not going to say who it is, but like I was telling him because he used to make videos, and I was like, man, I'd love for you to make videos again. And he's like, yeah, I just can't stand like the people who comment on my voice and like how weird it sounds or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's ass. I would say that like there's a lot of people that have really good channels, but their voices do have English might not be their first language, or they have something about it where it's not difficult to speak. It's just kind of hard to understand sometimes. And I think that can be a barrier, but like if you have that concern, I think people will appreciate your content if you put as much effort as you can. You don't try to hide it or mask that or anything like that. You kind of own it basically, and make it part of your content, make it part of the aesthetic, I think. And I think it could be really successful. And don't try to, you will find that audience that does appreciate your quirks and your tastes. I think people eventually do find their audience, even though it might not seem possible at first. Don't sweat about that.
The last tip I want to give, and this might sound a little bit weird at first, but I think you should really perform your voiceover. And what I mean by that is like so many new videos I watch, like videos from new creators, they're so monotone. They're so dry in how they're reading their script. And I will say this is even in my own videos. Like I will go back to old videos and be like, wow, you 100% were just reading something on screen. And no one just wants to be read at. No one wants to just have some guy plainly reading something off the screen. They want, you don't need to overact it. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to be like a wacky character or anything, but just like put passion into your voice. Be as passionate as the words are, hopefully, like actually think, well, what is the most interesting way for me to say this that, will best convey the message I'm trying to convey? And, it's a bit tedious at first, but if you think about every single line like that, eventually over time, you will start naturally, subconsciously approaching your scripts like that. So the best thing I could do is like, and I gave this advice a very, very long time ago when we collaborated with someone, is I felt like you're a little too dry if you just think about it as a performance. Think about it as you are performing a professional voice over person. Like just go. I would say go a little bit harder than you think you need to, and then you could always tone back down later. So I think overall, I think people are a little too monotone with how they read.
And to add to that, care as much about your audio as you do your visuals.
100%. Audio arguably is more important.
It is, effectively, but like especially because how many people click off your video and just want to listen to it because they're doing something else, like they're scrolling through Twitter or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so much you can do with it that you can have your own character, with your voice performance, and it doesn't have to be scripted and keep some breaths in and maybe let the music kind of drift back in if you are orchestrating it. I think orchestration is such a fun dynamic if you know how to play with it, and you can avoid copyright. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. It takes some adjustments and maybe upload it a couple times, see if you get past it, or don't. And if you don't care, right? Like me, this fucking Girl in Logon video is so much like commercial music with lyrics underneath but it's play with the mix, really listen to it, and I could understand it and have other people listen to it too in that way. If you're going for that, make it as much of an experience as your visuals and have fun with it. I think people can really appreciate that, especially since how many people really just consume YouTube as their primary source of entertainment. When you think about it, there's so many people like that. So they notice, right? They could tell the difference. They have a more discernible, they can discern more, I guess. They can forgive a lot more than you expect, actually. But I don't know. I think people will appreciate that.
Fully agree. All right. We spent a long time talking, longer than I thought we would, to be honest. But let's close out the podcast with our final segment. We're going to do some quick shout outs to new or old things in the anime sphere right now that we think you guys need to be paying attention to. Zero, what is something cool happening in anime that you think people need to check out? Zero?
So we've discussed quite a few sports shows on this podcast, and I didn't feel like looking up something new this week, so I'm going to recommend my favorite sports show, One Outs. Go watch it.
One Outs is great. Give us the quick elevator pitch.
So, this team, the Lycons, they've sort of fallen from grace. They have this legendary star player who desperately wants to bring the team to a championship, but he just hasn't been able to do it by himself. So, while they're scouting for new players, they come across this gambling ring playing this game called One Outs, which is essentially like a one-on-one version of baseball, where it's like the pitcher versus the batter. And they encounter this legendary gambler, my boy Tokuchi Toa, who has never lost in I want to say something crazy like 500 games of this One Outs game. He always strikes out the batter. And even the legendary star Kojima couldn't hit this guy's ball because he's just too good. However, through a complicated series of events, Kojima did manage to introduce Tokuchi's first loss in One Outs, and what they wagered was Kojima's retirement versus Tokuchi's arm. And Kojima won, so he got Tokuchi's arm and told him to play in the big leagues. Mm-hmm. So it's about this master gambler becoming a real basketball player and
baseball player,
using his skill. Oh yeah, baseball, not basketball.
Would it be
sports ball player?
Stickball.
using his skills to bring them to the championship.
Yeah, it is very. If you a lot of our fans have very similar taste to Zero. So if you have similar taste to Zero, you like the Code Geass, Death Note, those type of shows, it is very much in that alleyway. I've seen One Outs. I think it's pretty great. It's exactly like a show you think Zero would like. So if you feel like you're in tune with him, definitely check out One Outs. I'll do a quick one.
Yeah,
I'm also sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say with One Outs, a lot of people compare it with Akagi and Kaiji as well, and it's funny. Toa is voiced by the same voice actor as Kaiji and Akagi.
Oh, really?
The same guy, and he does a great job. The way I like selling,
he's very versatile.
Oh, he's great. And the way I like selling One Outs is when he gets to that league, for every he has a wager with his with the manager for every run that he strikes, for every batter he strikes out, he gets like 100. I think he gets like 10,000 yen or whatever number it is. But then every run that he lets go, he loses 100,000. So it's 10 times the amount that he would get, whatever. So I always love pitching it like that, as like a really it's crazy mind games, and like it's awesome. I agree. I love
extremely high stakes.
Yeah. I like One Outs.
The conflict of One Outs really is
it's great.
It's basically just, it is exactly like Kaiji's, like a brilliant example.
Yeah.
It is very much just sort of the 200 IQ,
psychological,
smart characters trying to outsmart each other.
Yeah.
My quick shout out, a lot of you guys probably are familiar with Takehiko Inui, famous manga who did Slam Dunk. He did Vagabond, or is still doing Vagabond. I recently discovered, I never heard about this. I don't know if it's popular or if I'm just, if I'm ignorant or something, but he has a manga about wheelchair basketball that's still going on called Real. I only read the first couple chapters, but I thought it was so fascinating that this mangaka, who has arguably the most famous basketball manga ever, finishes that and then decides to make another one. Because to me, the question is like, oh, well, what did you not cover in that original series that you really wanted to or something? What did you...
Mitsuru Adachi says hello. I'm sorry, I'll explain later. You can keep going.
Okay, well, anyways, I read the first couple chapters. I think Real it's fascinating. I think it was very, very captivating. I don't read a ton of manga. I will probably continue to read this. Also, I think the angle of it's not just basketball, it's a wheelchair basketball, I think that is both interesting, a solid idea for representation. All around, I think Real by Takehiko Inui, very, very interesting manga that I think people should definitely check out.
Yeah, and it does. I haven't seen it myself. I read it myself, but like that's definitely one of his works that goes under the radar compared to Vagabond and Slam Dunk, as I think you mentioned. So that's a good pick. I was with Mitsuru Adachi. That's the manga author for this series called Touch, as well as Cross Game. You may have seen that around. It's a baseball anime.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, so like this guy has been around since the 80s and it continues to write baseball romance kind of school rom-coms, like they center around a sport or whatever. But it's funny because like he starts and finishes several baseball anime, like multiple, and it's like, what did you find something you didn't cover? No, it's not that. I just like writing baseball.
Yeah, I think that's probably an example of like a guy who just has his one gimmick and really, I mean, not in a bad way. I've never read any of this stuff.
It's his wheelhouse. It's his shtick.
Yeah,
and a lot of people love him for it.
Yeah, with Takehiko Inui, I really feel like there's I have not read or watched all of Slam Dunk. I'm briefly familiar with it, but I could already tell with the little bit I've seen of both is that these are very different. So like this is very much someone who, wrote Slam Dunk and then thought, I have a different perspective on this sport that I could cover in Real. So to me, I think Real is definitely worth checking out. Shaybs, what is your quick shout out to something anime related?
So anime related, it's hard to recommend because it's not exactly available to watch at the moment. It's still in theaters in Japan. It's getting a DVD. It's getting a Blu-ray release in December. But I was able to watch it from a internet film festival. It's been making kind of the festival circuits at the moment. I'll be brief about it because you can't really watch it at the moment. But Ongaku R Sound is a film that came out last year, and G Kids has licensed it, so it will hopefully get a theatrical run if theaters come back. But it's about a trio of high school delinquents that decide to start a band, a rock band, and they have never played an instrument before. None of them have played an instrument before, so that's the kind of the pitch basically. And they just kind of start playing, and it's really fun, and it's very inspiring. But I'll try not to get into that. But like the cool thing about the film is most of it is rotoscoped, and it was animated primarily by the director, like one guy, over 7 years, and he finished it 7 years later. And it's insane. Like the animation is just so distinct and incredible. I gorgeous movie, but like I love that movie, but can't exactly watch it at the moment. So what I will say, what you can watch, sorry to double dip here,
go ahead,
is this video by Stevem. It's the Satoshi Kon problem. It just came out this past week, and it is like the best video I've seen this year. The dude covers his entire biography, Satoshi Kon's history, literally start to finish, including a lot of his work before Perfect Blue, which was very interesting. His time working in manga and the relationships he was forming. But it's cited it has so many sources, and he's quoting Satoshi Kon himself and like other people for like a third of the video. It's like a 50-minute video, but it's so little of his opinion, and it feels like a legit documentary. And Stevem is also an animator. I think he graduated in animation, or just he's an illustrator. I don't know the exact term for it, but like there's so many of his original drawings in here, and like it is kind of sketched off of Satoshi Kon and everything like that. But it makes it for such a polished and like beautiful looking video. That's a really good experience, and you learn so much about Satoshi Kon as a director. And he's not like this mythical, the legendary Satoshi Kon or tour or whatever. And like Stevem's not spending the whole video sucking his dick, right? It's really like covering his whole life, and it just feels elevated from a YouTube video. It just doesn't feel like a YouTube video to me. It's so well produced. The dude fucking killed it, and it helps yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, it helps that I'm friends with him, so I get the full disclosure. But like, yeah. I've followed him since he was under 1,000 subscribers. He was doing like reviewing a Toei movie every day for 30 days, way in the beginning, and then he blew up with this Miyazaki video, and then some subsequent videos, and now he's doing really well. And this video, it's not slouching. I'm not recommending it because it's performing poorly. It just hit 100K after less than a week, so let's go. It's doing real well, and it deserves it. So the Satoshi Kon problem, it's by Stevem. Please watch it, seriously. I couldn't sell you enough on it.
Yeah, I'm also seeing that it looks like he just finished a live stream, like a 4-hour live stream breaking down the video. So I'm definitely going to check this out. This looks really, really interesting. I've never even heard of this channel, to be 100% honest. I think I heard you mention it on the stream last night, but I don't think...
Yeah, check out his other stuff too. He recently did a second Mia Mafova covering a Madhouse movie, one for 30 days. Mm-hmm. And so like
that sounds like a lot.
And it is, and all of them are still really good videos. Like it's insane that the guy could just and he's doing a lot of different stuff too. He's reviewing a lot of music and a lot of like famous Japanese instrumental that you've probably seen around, like that really famous like lo-fi like Ryo Fubuki. I don't but like you've probably seen their faces if you look through his channel. It's like, oh, I recognize that person, and he made like a legit video essay about them, right? It's so fascinating. The dude's legit, dude. He's easily one of my favorites at the moment.
Well, he is now bookmarked. I am going to check that out after the recording.
Good shit.
All right, I think that's gonna do it. It's been a long one, actually, a longest episode, I think. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Kato's Anime Cafe. Thank you, Shaybs. I want to give a quick shout out again to this week's sponsors. Thank you, Writer Junkie and the Tax Defense Group for sponsoring the Anime Cafe. And thank you to everyone listening. You can catch us uploading every Tuesday to UCast Studios' YouTube channel or your favorite podcast apps. Thank you once again, Shaybs, for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me. Yo, peace.
I've been your host, Hoodie Song, with my partner, Zero, and we'll see you guys next week.